going on, everyone? We are back at it. We have our shop that we're putting together. In our last episode, we did the walls. One before that, we did the floor, and before that, we did planning and a gravel foundation or gravel base. So for today, we're putting on the roof. This is going to be framing, sheeting. I'm going to cover exactly what I've chosen to do for my shop. It is a gable roof. So the first thing I'm going to do is ensure that my walls are still plumb and square. In order to do this, I'm going to put in a temporary beam that goes from one side to the other in the middle of these big long walls to make sure that they are exactly where they need to be. Then I'm able to come in and lay out my rafter design and build those rafters. Cutting those gussets was fun. Definitely put that saw through quite a few repetitions. And it reminded me back when I was working on a framing crew, and I remember showing up, it was probably 5, 6 in the morning, got in a truck, drove a couple hours to the job site. Everything was covered in snow. I was handed a saw, just like one of those circular saws, and a snow shovel, and the foreman looked out to a big mound of snow and said, "Hey, underneath that is a whole bunch of wood. I need you to cut me 170 pieces. And he's like, "We'll see you this afternoon." So let's talk a little bit about what we got going on right here, why these are hanging up here, what are these gussets, and what the design is that I have in mind for the roof framing. So this right here, as you can see, have it on both sides, and that is what's going to hold that from coming down. So where I live, I don't think the gusset's going to be enough, so I'm going to put a piece that goes from this side all the way over to that side, and that is really called a collar tie. But I need to make a lot more of these trusses and get them ready to stand up. So I was putting up these rafters last night, got a couple of them up. I had them all nice and strung up and ready to go. And I forgot to cut in my bird's mouth. So a bird's mouth, as you can see, is a little notch out here. This carries the load, roof rafters, everything from the roof down from these rafters into onto the walls. So that not only carries the load, but it allows the rafters to be closer to the 2x4 wall, so we can put in some hurricane ties to make sure this thing stays sturdy. We want to make sure that load transfers from the roof to the walls efficiently. So we're going to go ahead and cut all these in, and then we can set up all of our rafters. We have all the rafters up. Now I just tacked them in, so let's go see what that bird's beak looks like real quick. You can see it's sitting on top of this top plate, runs out and over the siding. So again, the load from the roof goes down to the walls, on down to the floor, into the ground. So once I have all of those rafter ties on, this thing is good and done. I can throw the siding on this side. This side over here, I actually need to frame in a window. But for today, I need to finish off these hurricane ties, and hopefully I can get to finishing off the siding on these gable ends. Okay, all the rafters are up, siding is finished all the way to the top. And so the next thing I need to work on are the eaves and gable ends. So these eaves over here, I didn't measure these exactly perfect when I was cutting them. Probably should have thought about that. So what I need to do is square them off and make sure that they are all perfect. So on this gable end right here, what I need to do is finish framing it out. So you can see there is an overhang here. There is nothing here. So what I need to do is cut into these last rafters, put some 2x4, I believe they're called outriggers, out to be able to put on my last piece. And so that actually ties into this right here, to where I need to run a piece that goes across the tails, which is the fascia. And then also once I get these outriggers set up, then that'll match up there. Once those are all done and secure, then I'm ready to go ahead and put on my plywood. So that's what we're gonna tackle right now and get to that point. All right, the roof is done. You can see behind me there that I have it framed and sheeted. I'm gonna split the roofing up into two different videos, mainly because this is pretty extensive in and of itself, but I'm also going to trim and paint before I put the roofing on. So right here we have the rafters. These are the rafter tails. The tails are basically whatever sticks out from the wall or the siding that's considered a tail. I did a square fascia or square tail on this one. I just wanted that look. The other version is a plumb cut, and you can look up and see what the difference is there. But you have the tails here, and then you have the bird blocking. If you do a nice and tight bird blocking, then you can caulk this and leave an open eave. And that's actually what I wanted to do. So I'm gonna caulk all these gaps, paint it, and I'm gonna leave an open eave. Taking a look at the inside, you have the rafters coming down. We cut that bird blocking in there. It's sitting on the top plates of the wall, and then you have your hurricane ties. As I mentioned before, I do have these gussets, but I'm gonna go ahead and put a collar tie, so basically another 2x4 underneath that to help make sure that it stays nice and secure. It'll also give me something to put a little bit of a ceiling up there. So that is it for framing and sheeting a roof for your accessory structure. In this case, it is my shop. It could be for a barn, she shed, garden shed of some kind, but definitely hopefully this helps you out in your build. Stay tuned for future episodes where we're going to finish up this shop. The next one, we're going to be doing some paint and trim, and then we have the roofing to go up, and then all of the interior that I have planned for this shop. So thanks for watching. Again, hopefully this helps you with your build, and we'll see you on the next one.